Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have not been able to make a video for the better part of a month now. I have been incredibly busy, which is a line that everyone always uses, but I took a break after my last video because I realized a lot of the different camera brands were coming out with all of their different camera models, and it was just the big hype train of new, greatest, best cameras coming out. And I had just recently reacquired or repurchased the Leica M11 from my good friend Leon down at Rice Ball Photography in Singapore. You should definitely check him out. He's not asking me to say this, but I just think he's a great guy, and everyone in his shop, everything about that shop, you should check out. Now, I was very happy to get in my hands and back shooting with the Leica system. I had shot Leica in the past. I was incredibly thankful and very lucky to be able to have been shooting I think it was third hand Leica M240. A friend of mine was shooting with a Leica M8. Me and him used to meet, and we used to talk about the joy of shooting with these cameras. Walking the streets, we've got this nice little camera and we can take some beautiful shots. I blame him for me considering Leica back in the day, almost 15 years ago. So one time, years ago, I got a small bonus and I used a portion of it to buy a second-hand Leica M240. Now, the Leica M240 for me was this aspirational camera that would deliver such magnificent image quality and just a beautiful, romanticized shooting experience that I thought, this is it. This is the friggin' pinnacle. This is what I'm going for. I bought it. I met a guy down in Singapore, far away. You'll see him on Carousel. And he was a really nice guy, pleasure to deal with if you ever were looking for a third-hand, or second-hand, sorry, pre-owned, pre-loved camera that is brand new, because he looks after his stuff. You should search him out. But I went down, paid, he let me test it out. It was really nice. And I was excited, you know. I was excited because I've got this camera. Finally, this is the camera the universe keeps talking about. This is the camera that these guys, the Magnum photographers, I have the Magnum Manifesto here. The best photographers in the world use Leica. Well, not just Leica, but, you know, it's an aspiration. And for someone like me, who this was both a career and a hobby, I was very happy and excited with the purchase of the Leica M240. At the time, Chinese lens makers were starting to come out with some new lenses. I was in Perth when I got an email saying that, would you like to review some of these lenses? And I said, sure, I'll give them a go. I'd absolutely love to try them on the camera. And I started going through this experience of shooting with Leica and trying some of my Voigtländer lenses as well. I absolutely love the Voigtländer 40mm 1.2. I sold that lens and I regret selling it. I always wish I could get it back. But anyway, the point of the story is these Chinese lens makers, 7 Artisans, were doing these really great things with the lenses. They were not making those plastic, fantastic pieces of garbage lenses that we see nowadays. Yes, I'm a little bit of a snob. I like quality. I do not like the plastic, whatever, polycarbonate, blah, blah, whatever it is. Yeah, it gets a little bit heavier, but I like a bit of quality and heft in it, right? When you're driving a classic car, or you've got a Jeep, or you've got some kind of, you know, you've got a little bit of a robust body. You've got something substantial behind it. Not friggin' tank-like that it just weighs you down, but you've got enough weight behind it and a little bit of heft that you know you've got quality. And that's what I liked about these lenses. So I was shooting with the Leica M240 and I was enjoying the experience and I was liking what was coming out of it, but there was just something about it that I wasn't ready for. And this is the thing. I wasn't ready for the Leica experience, having shot Canon, Fuji, Sony, Nikon. I had shot all the modern cameras and I'd had all the modern cons and pros of autofocus, single point, all this kind of stuff, that when it came to the experience of photographing the world with the Leica, it was slow. People classify it as a slow intentional experience, the limitation of features for a more pure experience. I think that's a little bit of bullshit. Honestly, the stripped down mechanics of the camera, yes, it does get in your hands. But at the time, I just didn't really appreciate that. I was happy on one hand that I had actually aspired, saved my pennies and got a third-hand version of the camera, but then on the other hand, I was missing something. So then Leica went through its kind of cycle. I photographed a whole bunch of different things. I wrote articles for 35mmC. I helped write some pieces and shared what's in my camera bag for the Japan Camera Hunter. And I was really enjoying the experience, but there was something missing for me. I then went back to my old cameras, my Yashica 2000, some of my old Minoltas, my FM2s, and I just started shooting film again before the resurgence and the renaissance that everyone now is going back to film, and I was enjoying that experience. And it was only in that transition from, let's say, modern back to old, did I then start to appreciate again what the positioning, or at least the aspirational benefit of Leica cameras still is. So fast forward to modern day, and you know I've been shooting with the Fujifilm GFX 100 RF. Fantastic image quality, fantastic size, like the whole thing is an amazing camera. But the lens is not up to scratch compared to the camera body and the technology in it. Film simulations, ISO performance, the autofocus, everything is just crazy good for a semi-medium format / large format censored camera. I still love it. But I went back to this. My beloved Leica. Now, this time around, I did it right. I got the M11, not the M11P. I changed my dot outs, so I've got the stealth out setup. I've got my Arca Swiss case so I can put it on with a little bit of grip. And I've got my little cheap, crappy carbon fibery thumb grip, which gives me just enough perch on top so I can hold it without it dropping. I picked up this Brighton Star lens, this 28mm f2.8, which surprisingly is a fantastic performer. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful lens. And the whole setup for me is just different this time around. I had also shot with the Leica M10 years ago, and I enjoyed that experience, but again, it was a secondhand camera, and I had a negative experience where the camera was damaged in a camera bag, and it went for an extensively, well, let's say it went back for repair officially, and it took a very long time and a lot of money to repair it. And I was very frustrated because it was in my camera bag, and it was a dent or a drop that happened because the strap in my camera bag broke. So definitely nothing wrong with the Leica, but because of all of the extra technology, when you open these guys up, inside here there's the rangefinder. It got kind of misaligned, and I had to get it looked at, repaired, and updated again. Anyway, the point being is, what is the Leica M11 like in 2025, and why did I go back here? Because I actually understand now. I understand what those people were talking about. The romanticized experience of the stripped back system. I appreciate that there is a close far, an aperture. I appreciate that I only have a shutter speed to set, an exposure compensation dial, and that's it. I look through my viewfinder if I want to, my rangefinder, sorry, and I can focus. I'm done. I know that I want to go to the distance. I don't even have to look. I can push it over here at f8 and I've already got a shot. So all the gripes of different modern cameras with their autofocus systems and variability of auto, bird, plane, elephant, dinosaur focus, it doesn't matter because I can focus, I can zone focus, I can shoot at f8 in the streets, And I really don't have to worry about autofocus acquiring focus because I already pre-visualize the scene. I already appreciate what a 28mm focal length looks like. And one of the things that I really discovered I missed when I was shooting with the Leica Q3, which is a beautiful camera, was the 28mm was a little bit limiting. What I have done with this camera is I have got the Voigtländer 50mm f2.2 color scope R, the Voigtländer 15mm f4.5 Mark III, and I've got the Voigtländer 90mm f2.8 APO lens, which is on its way from Japan as we speak. And all of this setup fits in a very tiny bag. And as you remember, about 2 years ago, I was going on this crazy quest to try and minimize my entirety of my camera system down into what can fit into a small kind of ice cream bucket kind of thing. I'm there. I'm really happy. And this time round, the shooting experience of the Leica M11, some have criticized the colors and some of the sensor being the same as the Sony, but that 60 or 61 megapixel sensor with its binned abilities to shoot at 36 and 18 gives me incremental gains in ISO and dynamic range ever so slightly when you've got those different binned modes, but essentially that 60 megapixels gives me just fantastic image quality. And for me, I'm always looking for something with fantastic image quality. The raw files that come out of this are good, the metering is better, but I've gone back to shooting raw because you can control some of those minor discrepancies when it comes to the different color variants. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think there's a specific or a very tangible thing that I could put my finger on what makes Leica special. I think it's the combination of the brand and the aspiration about owning a Leica. I think it's part of the celebrity around it. I think the actual metal build and quality finish of the good, I mean, it's a luxury camera, right? But now with some of the sensor inside, the tech, and like the raw image performance, these are really good things that are all going towards an expensive but more affordable in 2025 camera because it's older tech given all of the new imminent camera and brand launches of the last 6 months. There's been a lot of camera announcements. And I see some of these comments claiming and flaming, even myself talking about these new camera launches, saying, it's not a fixed screen, IBIS this, and there's no autofocus that. But you know what? I don't have to worry about autofocus anymore. I've got a Leica. I've got zone focus ability at 15mm, the 15mm Voigtländer lens. If you shoot that thing at 1 meter and at f8, literally everything from a meter to infinity is in focus. On photo done. There is no pre-focus, capture, after focus, wait for autofocus registration, look for the point, move the point, whatever you want to do. You know your scene, you're in front of it, you take the photo, that is it. That for me is a very enjoyable experience. And that for me is why I've gone back to my pure Leica experience in 2025. The other benefit is the Leica M11 had some absolute garbage issues when it launched. Like any damn product nowadays, it's frustrating. But because Leica continuously improved, the firmwares and the support for the camera, a lot of that stuff is gone. And I'm now benefiting from, well, what the Leica should have launched like at day one. And I'm very happy with it. Are there some quirks? Yeah. But right now, the benefit of the Leica M11, like the USB-C slot here at the base is weird. But if you get a case like this, it protects it and you can still access it. So there are some kind of quality of life updates that you can make very cheaply to a very expensive camera. They kind of slightly excuse the design oversight of that. And I wouldn't say it's a complete design oversight. I think they're trying to maintain the sleek, minimal lines and the aesthetic of the actual Leica M heritage. So, you know, you go from changing the bottom plate from the film style canister to this. Of course, there's going to be some slight compromises, but I think with this kind of update I've got in that little case, yeah, makes it worthwhile, makes it workable. So, what am I going to say all up? No matter what camera you got, I hate saying this, no matter what camera you got to be happy with what you've got and how you use it. And if the camera is the greatest in the world, but it's stuck in your camera case or it's stuck in a drawer or somewhere, you don't use it, then it can be the greatest technology in the world, but you're not using it. The Leica represents a camera that helps me get back to what I like doing, which is sometimes just wandering the streets and taking some photos. I used it in a corporate shoot the other day. I used the 50mm lens and I shot all corporate headshots of CEOs and C-suite. It's beautiful. Worked a charm. I had this beautiful ability to kind of crop in, clean up some edges, color correct, and then I've got these beautiful shots. So it does sound cliche, but the best camera is the one you've got on you. And if the camera that you got on you makes you really happy, then you know what? That's the one you need. I'm recording this with the Sony a7C II. I'm not going to record that in the M11 because there's no video. But you know what? I've also got a DJI here, an Osmo 360, an Osmo 3, a whole bunch of other gear around this place. But the things that I use the most are these kind of Sony little mini bodies and my Leica. And that's it. I've got the Nikon as well that I enjoyed in the Fuji GFX 100 RF, sure. But nothing beats the experience of this pocketable camera. And the last little nugget I'll give you, I was at a Rice Ball event when they were launching the new Voigtländer lens, the 28mm f2 APO, which is just freaking fantastic. And Leon asked me, he said, "Hey, how's the camera going? Where is it?" I literally pulled this out of my pocket and he laughed. I pulled it straight out of my pocket. You know why? Because it's so small. When you combine it like that, look at this thing. That is what I'm talking about. That is just a beautiful, beautiful experience. I'm going to be getting out there again, shooting a lot of photos now that I've got a little bit more time, now that my work is starting to kind of ease up a little bit. So got some creative things to do, got some strategic things to do, but I'm going to get out there and start sharing some photos again, doing some more videos. So if you do have any experience, questions, queries, whatever it may be about this particular camera or anything that I've spoken about here, then as always, comments are welcome and I really appreciate your feedback and your following. So that's pretty much it. Keep creating, yeah? Cheers.